in 2022 and 21, when anyone could sell a house, you wouldn't necessarily have learned the best practices. But now, if you're active in the industry, you're really having to work hard and learn these best practices to continue to use forward. You're learning this foundation for future success, because if you can be successful in this market, you can be successful in any market.
Hey, it's Ryan Hodge, broker of record, owner, and a coach here at the Realty Firm in London, Ontario. And I am super excited to kick off our No Secret Agents podcast, a production by the Realty Firm. And this is a podcast and some information to share with you in regards to how our agents come from a real spirit of contribution and abundance. We want to showcase, a lot of our agents and the amazing things that they're doing in all of the marketplaces where we hold membership, and really share, what we're about, what they're about, and come together to try and support our fellow realtors and our industry colleagues on the whole. So today I'm super fortunate to welcome Ryan Starr, who is a cherished member here at the Realty Firm. And Ryan has been in real estate for a short period of time, but he has done some amazing things here at the company, and he continues to do amazing things with his family, with his career, and of course, getting started in real estate, which is a incredible environment to get started in right now. So Ryan, welcome.
Thanks, Ryan. It's going to be easy to remember either of our names for whoever's watching.
For sure. Hey, listen, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background and the audience, a little bit about your background, where you come from, how you got into real estate and some of the other things that you've done along the way, because I think it's going to lend a tremendous amount of value to people who may not know you yet, either here or, beyond.
Yeah, for sure. So I actually grew up outside of London, about 45 minutes north of Toronto, a small town called King City. Went to school. I actually studied sport marketing in the sport management program at Brock University. Went there for my undergrad, wasn't quite done, went back, completed my master's, where I graduated in 2016, also from Brock, studying sport marketing. So from there, I actually moved on, worked with the London Knights here in the city. That was how I started here in London. It was a pretty cool experience there. Got to see, behind the scenes. I got to be part of the Memorial Cup Championship back in 2016. We had guys like Matthew Tkachuk on the team, Mitch Marner, Christian Borak. So it's definitely a ride to start. And it was a really, really cool experience. So from there, I joined the YMCA in 2019 as their marketing manager. Then the pandemic hit, and it's a little bit tough to market a gym during a pandemic with things opening and closing all the time. So I wanted to figure out what I could do with my skill set, with my knowledge and with my passion. And with sport marketing being my background, working for the Knights in London was sort of like the cream of the crop. There was nowhere else really to go. So I figured that I needed to change industries a little bit. And when I thought about what sport marketing teaches you, it's all about creating an emotional connection with the product, right? And real estate's the same. Like when I talk about sport marketing, like I have a story that I always tell, that I have a buddy, he has 2 kids and a wife. He got his first tattoo, and it wasn't of his wife's name or his kids' names or anything. It was of the Toronto Maple Leafs logo, and it was over his heart. So like when we talk about sport marketing in terms of like the emotional connection people make with their product, right? Because the Leafs are just like any other product that you can buy. It's very similar to real estate in that you're making such a huge transaction that you're totally committing your time and effort and resources and emotion to, right? Like you're going to be living in a house, you're going to be making memories with your friends, your family. So a lot of the principles are the same in terms of learning how to market an emotional product that you don't necessarily have a ton of control over, right? So I could go on and on, but that's a little bit about me and how my experiences have transferred from the sport industry into the real estate industry.
Wow. And you came into, the mini NHL being a part of the London Knights. I mean, that's a whole different environment in itself versus a lot of the other teams out there.
Yeah, it was such a cool experience. Like, I got to go out to Red Deer for the Memorial Cup. I got to get a ring, which was really cool at the end of the day. And just, being able to work with some of these players that have now gone on to win Stanley Cups, and some that are chasing for it this year, and other players that are like superstars in the NHL. Like, if Matthew Tkachuk ever comes to London, like, I always try to make an effort to say hi to him, or Robert Thomas, who now plays on the Blues. Like, he won the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago in St. Louis. And
right.
It's cool. Like, he was here after a game one time where he came back during a holiday break, and like, we saw his ring. He got to talk about the experience, and it was really cool to see these kids turn into young men and are now successful at the NHL level.
Mm-hmm, totally. I think that you're right. With regards to real estate, it's a career and an experience that, transfers, across the board in terms of that emotional connection. I mean, buying and selling real estate, whether you're investing or you're buying and selling your family home, a long history. I think it's a very emotional process. I've always found that our role as realtors is to be as objective as possible, where, a lot of the people that we get to work with, it's a very subjective experience because they're in it. It's their memories. It's, their household. And, there's a lot that comes along with that. But when we talk about, marketing, I believe that, that emotional connectedness and how it transfers into marketing is a big differentiator when it comes to working with the consumer. I find that, market to market, industry to industry, when people are in sales, oftentimes they have what I call that sales breath, right? Where they're just constantly coming at it from a place of, I want to help somebody buy or sell a house. And yes, we're in this for profit. Yes, we're in this to, sell real estate. But how do you see, what you do from a digital marketing standpoint? How does that allow you to connect with your audience, connect with the consumer, your clients on a deeper emotional level? Because I think that is going to be something that really differentiates agents today versus, what we've seen over the past and current.
More than anything, digital marketing allows you to be human, right? We're all human. We all live lives. Ryan, we've talked many times about like attracting like. When I look at, all the clients that I represent, they're all like me, or they're all like my parents, or they're all like my family. And so when I try to connect with them online, whether it's through organic Facebook or through, paid Instagram ads, or any way that I look to connect with people, I can see who they are as people, and I can represent my own personal brand, right? Like, if you check out my Facebook page or my Instagram page, either my personal page or my business pages, they all represent who I try to be as a brand, right? Mm-hmm. And digital marketing allows for you to do that. It allows for you to, create your own brand persona. It allows you to humanize yourself, even though we are all humans. Like, it allows us to get people to see us more as, someone who's able to help them rather than just somebody that's looking to profit off of real estate. And it really allows us to connect with people that we wouldn't have thought we would be able to connect with, right? Beyond all the tools of lead generation and tips and tricks and everything like that, more than anything, it just allows us to see who each other are as a client and agent relationship, right? And
totally,
it really allows for us to just connect. And that's the great part about social media and digital marketing, is that it allows for this relationship to be built, more than just necessarily having bus bench ads or radio ads or billboards or anything like that. Mm-hmm. We can actually connect with people through like Facebook Messenger or Instagram comments or TikTok or anything like that. And that's a great part of it, is that it's truly now this relationship rather than just like pushing your face out in a community on a bus bench ad.
Totally. And I'm going to, go back a second because, all of the traditional strategies, they still work. I think that, for myself and, the volume of sales that I've done over the years, do that internet lead stuff, do some prospecting. I've done open houses and cold calling and door knocking and, big brand marketing such as bus benches or flyers, all that stuff. But I do agree with you. And I think that we're seeing a shift right now from traditional sales marketing to what you and I have talked about recently, which is story branding, sharing our story. And I agree with you again that, like attracts like, my audience often, shows up in the way that, my messaging is. And, not everybody may not want to go as deep as far as, their story goes transparently. But I think that when we're looking at sales, there's an opportune time to share with the consumer our own story, both, personally, where people can build that like and trust, but also with the story of our consumer, the story of the relationships that we have with our clients. And I think that instead of just casting that big wide net, which so many of us want, we all want more sales. How do we go to that real deep rooted connectivity with our audience? And I think through, sharing the story, connecting on that emotional level, but then utilizing some of these platforms, it's such an opportune time in the history of marketing. So, can you share like a little bit on that strategy or the philosophy, what we can do with some of the platforms right now?
For sure. Content marketing is the form of marketing nowadays, right? And what content marketing is that it's not just a direct ad that says, hey, buy or sell your house with me. There's a reason why when you watch the Super Bowl, all of the commercials are stories and they're telling some type of story. And it's to get you to remember that company, right? Rather than necessarily just, an ad for M&Ms saying, buy M&Ms, right? Like it's some silly story behind it.
Sure.
So brands nowadays are inviting people in, and us as real estate agents, like we have our own personal brands. We are the product, but we have our own personal brands. So we need to invite people in. And so with that, there are so many tools that you can use nowadays in order to showcase, who you are and to showcase your story, whether it's something as simple as recording a video and turning it into a story on your Instagram account, talking about, this is what I do to help my clients. This is the average day in the life of a real estate agent to try to stay top of mind with anybody that's following you organically. Then that's a great way to showcase, what you do on a day-to-day basis. Or even like blogging or vlogging. I know a lot of people think that blogs, are a little bit of a waste of time, but it produces so much relatable content that you can share across all of your platforms, right? Like if I write a blog, then I have almost a month's worth of content that I can reshare on Facebook, on my Instagram account, on my website. And so these blogs that I write, they talk about who I am as a real estate agent. Like it's not groundbreaking stuff here. It's just to showcase who I am. It's to share my story. And that's how I like to do it. And then I share it on my business page. I reshare it to my personal page so that people can see everything that I do and who I am as an agent and who I am as a person, right? So there's plenty of tools that you can utilize. And we're all familiar with them, right? Like we use Facebook and Instagram every single day.
Totally.
So when people say, oh, I don't know how to use a lot of these digital marketing tools, just think of how you see ads on your pages. And so there's some tips and tricks on the back end that, you might need to do a little bit of research on, but like just try changing your mindset into an actual, more of a treating yourself as a business when you are looking and just scrolling through your Facebook feeds and Instagram feeds.
For sure, for sure. I hear the buzz in the office right now. It's a busy one at the Realty Firm. And, that's great because right now in Ontario real estate, there's a lot of agents that are not so busy. And so I got into the real estate environment in 2008, 2009. The market was certainly challenging back then as well. For those that know my story, I had some pretty instant success at a pretty high level. But take me inside of what you're feeling as a new member to the real estate community from a sales perspective and what you're experiencing.
I'm learning a lot more than anything.
Oh yeah.
But I'm setting my foundation for future success. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm learning, what works in the industry. I'm learning how to work hard, and I'm learning what produces the best results. Right. Back, in 2022 and 21, when, anyone could sell a house, you wouldn't necessarily have learned the best practices. But nowadays, if you're active in the industry, you're really having to work hard and learn these best practices to continue to use forward. So for anyone that's joining nowadays, the big sexy numbers might not necessarily be the same as it was in previous years, but you're learning this foundation for future success, because if you can be successful in this market, you can be successful in any market.
Totally. And I think that, that opportunity will exist. And it's really, what we're about and what this podcast is about. How can we share, those foundational principles and, some of the strategies that, might lend well to, a real estate agent, whether they are brand new or experienced and having some challenges, what can, contribute to them, on the overall, because it's not easy out there, but the opportunity exists if there is a committed amount of action. I've been fortunate to work with a lot of people over the years, both from, a sales environment, with my own sales teams. Sandra is my partner in business and life. The amazing employees that we've had, at the Realty Firm. I've had some interesting encounters with employees and agents that, I'd like to forget about sooner than later. But, it has been an honor to have you, come into the company and take on a role that, we didn't see coming. You kind of fell out of the sky for us with one of our employees passing on your information. And you've had such a vital role in enhancing the experience of what we do. As we had for 10 years in the industry, we just went through a brand refresh, which you were a vital part of. Laying out our foundations program, which is a complete onboarding and suite and real online resource for any agent at any level really now, and just being so involved with the company at a high level. So again, honored. One of the things that, some of our members, have recognized and utilized is your SMART training, which I think is a great transference from what you do as a professor, at Fanshawe. But take us inside of what that is and, a little bit about that.
Yeah. So our SMART training, which stands for social media and realty training, is basically how to digitally market yourself, like a quick 101 session on here are all of the tools that you can utilize to either help create your brand, help story tell, what we talked about earlier, help produce content marketing, and ultimately generate leads. Right. So having someone that's in the real estate industry and putting sort of that real estate lens on it, with being able to utilize my knowledge of digital marketing, my goal is to get people more familiar with all of the tools that they can use to market themselves. So we have lessons in that training program that talk about how to run a Facebook ad, some of the best practices for Instagram ads, how to actually create video content that will result in, more views than your typical video content. We look at CRMs, we look at marketing automation, we look at how to actually generate leads. and we look at what goes into creating an attractive and an effective ad, right? From a graphic design theory. So we go through all of these lessons so that people are ultimately more prepared, or at least have an idea on how to market themselves. When I was working at the YMCA, my boss, so she used to be the head of marketing for Sears Canada, and she really wanted to push for an online platform. We now know that Sears no longer exists, and one of their reasons as to why that didn't exist was because they didn't have, much of an online platform. And her big push was, hey, we don't need to have the best platform. We just need to have something that exists so that we can stay up with our competitors, right? And so that's what my goal is that I want to teach people who either don't have any idea on how to use any of this stuff, how to at least have a foundation for it so that they can keep up with other agents that do know how to use this proficiently. And any agents that do know how to use it well, I want to try to take them to the next level, right? And so that we can all grow together as a brokerage here at the Realty Firm.
For sure. So I guess the shameless plug part of this podcast, not shameless, but, looking at, what we do as far as a membership, take me inside the experience that you've had at the Realty Firm. You went through the process like a lot of agents do, but, share with me your experience and, perhaps what you may seek from, Sandra and myself in terms of, leadership and some of the things that we can improve upon too.
Yeah, for sure. The best part about working at the Realty Firm, or maybe I'll back up and I'll say, when I first started to look, and I graduated from Humber College and I got my real estate license, what I found was that at every single brokerage I went to, whether it was your global brokerages or your local brokerages here in London, I would go to everyone and every interview was basically the same. I didn't know what I didn't know. So I would go in and I would have two questions. My questions were, what's your fee structure like and what sort of training do you have? And everyone would say, well, we have several different fee structures, and they would go into it. But the more important aspect to me was the training. And so when I would talk again with any level or any size of brokerage, their answer was, yeah, we have training to help you. Yeah. And I'd say, like, okay, what's the training that you have? They say, well, like, it varies. And I found that I never got a good answer, right? Mm-hmm. But when I came here to the Realty Firm, Ryan and Sandra, they said, okay, here are all of our training platforms and programs that we have. They walked through my goals with me, and they helped me understand, this platform or this program that we have will help you hit this goal. And this program that we run for all of our agents will help you hit this goal. And they just worked through everything that I wanted to try to accomplish. And at all the other brokerages that I interviewed at, it was more like just a recruiting pitch. Like, sure, hey, come work for us because we're great. But here, Ryan and Sandra and the initial conversations, they really, both of you just said, hey, what's your goals? Let's help you hit your goals. And as somebody, again, who was new, that's making a career change and an industry change, I didn't really know what I didn't know. So the support and guidance from Ryan and Sandra, both from, the selling point of it, but also just as leadership and as mentors, has been huge for me. Because, like, if I didn't have you guys, I'd just be spinning my wheels, having no idea where I'd need to go. So that was the big differentiator for me when I was picking brokerages, was just like this transparent, tangible explanation of, hey, we can help you hit your goals. Tell me what your goals are, and I'll tell you the programs that we have so that you can hit your goals, rather than just saying, yeah, we got training that'll help you. Right. So That was what was really, really big for me. And since I've been here at the Realty Firm, it's not just been about the training. It's been about the culture. It's been about the lifestyle. It's been about making friends here within the brokerage. It's been great. And again, like some of these bigger brokerages or smaller brokerages, I don't see some of the things that we're doing that, is anything close to what some of these other brokerages might be doing. Like, we went to the Def Leppard concert last summer and it was amazing. Like I don't see any other brokerage in the city doing stuff like that. So if you're, and like, I know that I'm representing the Realty Firm, but like I'm being totally transparent and honest with this. Like if you're in real estate and you're looking not just to make a profit or enhance your business, which the Realty Firm is great at doing, but really having an amazing lifestyle, great work-life balance, and forming these friendships both professionally and personally, then there's no better place in the city or anywhere in Ontario I can imagine than the Realty Firm.
No, well, I would say that with that testimonial, I better try and find another concert or something to do. That was a ton of fun. I appreciate it, man, and that was certainly an honor to hear you say that. We want to see people succeed and have a good time along the way. Quality of life is something that is not talked about too much when you go into a real estate interview or training, or a lot of the coaches that I've had or people that I follow along with. It's not something that gets talked about too often. I've always looked at us as more of a training and development company that just happens to be a real estate brokerage in many ways, but that's changed over the years as well. But speaking of quality of life, man, you've got some big things along the way. So take us inside of who you are, what you do, your family, and some of the things that you enjoy doing outside of real estate as well.
Yeah. So I, like Ryan said, I also teach at Fanshawe College in the marketing program there. So I'm able to reuse some of the stuff that I teach here for my classes, or some of the stuff that I teach in my classes, I'm able to utilize here as well when it comes to our training platforms. So between juggling Fanshawe and helping out with the marketing here and being an agent myself, I'm pretty busy. But me personally, I have a beautiful wife. Her name's Julie. Got an amazing young son. He's about almost 2 years old now. He'll be 2 years old in June. It's crazy. I get my steps in every day. And depending when you're watching this, like literally any day now, I'm on baby watch. We're going to have our second kid, a little girl. Could be named Sam. So really excited for that. We got a little puppy too. We're in the middle of a house renovation. Like we're just going for it.
Oh yeah.
I got no time to get in trouble. So it's a busy life, but that's a great part about real estate, right? Is that I can set my own hours. I can be home when I need to. If the little guy's sick or anything like that, I can stay home with them and pump out a couple of emails during nap time and maybe take a little nap myself. But it's great to have that kind of flexibility within this industry. So when I do have any spare time, big sports guy, love me some football, big New England Patriots guy. Hopefully Ryan doesn't kick me off the podcast.
No, you're good. You're
good. Big fantasy sports guy, trying to go back to back for my fantasy hockey championship. So we'll see how that goes for the next couple of weeks.
Love it, man. Well, you've got a lot on your plate, and I give you credit because that's a definite abundance of different things going on in your world. First of all, I want to say thank you for taking the time to be here today. Thank you for all that you do inside of the Realty Firm. I recommend that anybody that's following along and resonates with Ryan, number one, reach out to him if you want to learn more about the Realty Firm and his experience here. But number two, if you are, looking to buy or sell a house or invest in real estate, you've got somebody here that, just might be right up your alley in terms of a great person who's professional, knowledgeable, and doing some amazing things with marketing that you may, be able to connect with. So reach out to Ryan. We'll have contact information here for certain. Ryan, it's an honor to be here on the first episode of the No Secret Agents podcast, a production by the Realty Firm. It's an honor to work with you day to day and watch your trajectory rise, both inside of the company and with your sales career and everything, involved in your family life and the great things that you're doing. So really appreciate you taking the time today. And we look forward to seeing what comes up next for you as well.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan. I really appreciate it. Hey, if we do any more of these in the future, maybe we can call it like Ryan Squared or something.
yeah, for sure. I was thinking about that we'll probably do, do somewhere to you and I as well with some other folks inside of the company. We look to bring a lot more of these agent spotlights, contributions from our members, and bringing in some guests that maybe our members work with or that are really good colleagues and affiliates of the Realty Firm, just to share with you. We want to keep impacting your business, your life with value, just coming from that place of spirit and contribution. Sandra and I always wake up each and every day and say, how do we help somebody today? And we know that our members are taking that not only among one another as an environment that is really collaborative in nature, but also to their clients, and they want to help at a high level as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this first episode. Stay tuned for many more, and we will look to connect real soon.